Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into one of the most intriguing debates in philosophy, René Descartes' Cartesian dualism. It's a concept that has captivated thinkers for centuries, and it all boils down to one fundamental question. What is the relationship between the mind and the body? Are they two separate entities as Descartes proposed? Or are our thoughts, emotions, and consciousness simply products of our physical brains? Get ready for a cosmic journey through philosophy, neuroscience, and the very essence of what it means to be human. Fasten your seatbelts, folks, because things are about to get mind-bending. All right, imagine this. You're biting into a juicy apple. You taste its sweetness, feel its crispness, smell its fresh aroma. Now, here's the kicker. How does your physical body, a collection of cells and organs, give rise to those subjective experiences, those non-physical qualia? That, my friends, is the crux of the mind-body problem. Enter René Descartes, the 17th century French philosopher who threw down the gauntlet with his theory of Cartesian dualism. Descartes argued that the mind and the body are two fundamentally different substances. The body, he claimed, is material, bound by the laws of physics, like a finely tuned machine. The mind, however, is immaterial, a realm of thoughts, emotions, and consciousness that exists independently of the physical world. Think of it like this. Your computer has hardware, the physical components and software, the programs that run on it. Descartes believed the body is like hardware, and the mind is like software. But then comes the real head-scratcher. If the mind and body are separate, how do they interact? Descartes proposed that the pineal gland, a small structure in the brain, might be the meeting point. But even he admitted that the mechanism of this interaction remained a mystery. Some argue that our subjective experiences, our thoughts and feelings, are simply emergent properties of complex brain activity. In other words, consciousness arises from the intricate firing of billions of neurons, just as a symphony emerges from the coordinated playing of numerous instruments. But others remain unconvinced, pointing out that we still lack a clear understanding of how physical processes, no matter how complex, can give rise to the subjective, qualitative nature of our experiences. This is what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. The mind-body problem, fueled by Cartesian dualism, continues to be a source of intense debate and inquiry. Now, let's shift gears and explore how Cartesian dualism squares up against the behemoth that is modern science. Neuroscience, with its ever-evolving tools for peeking into the brain, often leans towards materialism, the idea that everything in the universe, including consciousness, is ultimately reducible to matter and energy. Think about it. We can now observe brain activity in real-time, pinpoint areas responsible for specific functions, and even manipulate neurons to alter behavior. It's an incredibly powerful lens for understanding the biological underpinnings of our mental lives. But here's the twist. Even with these advances, Cartesian dualism hasn't been entirely relegated to the dustbin of scientific history. Why? Because it leaves open a space for concepts that materialism struggles to fully embrace: consciousness, free will, and even spirituality. Let's take consciousness, for example. Neuroscience has made incredible strides in mapping out the neural correlates of consciousness, identifying the brain regions and patterns of activity associated with our subjective experiences. But the question of how those physical processes actually give rise to the feeling of awareness, the subjective what-its likeness of experience, remains a tantalizing mystery. This is where Cartesian dualism, with its separation of mind and body, offers a glimmer of a potential explanation. If the mind is not entirely reducible to the physical brain, then perhaps consciousness, that most elusive of phenomena, could reside in this non-physical realm. Similarly, the concept of free will, the ability to make choices freely and independently, finds a curious resonance with Cartesian dualism. If our minds are not entirely bound by the deterministic laws of physics that govern the material world, then perhaps there's room for genuine agency, for the ability to shape our own destinies. Cartesian dualism, with its recognition of both a physical and a non-physical realm, acknowledges the validity of both perspectives, offering a framework for understanding their potential interplay. Chapter 3. Cultural Relevance, a Bridge Between Worlds. Now let's step outside the laboratory and into the broader cultural landscape. Here, Cartesian dualism takes on a life of its own, resonating with deeply held beliefs about the soul, the afterlife, and the relationship between the physical and the spiritual. Think about it. The idea that we have a soul, a non-physical essence that outlives our physical bodies, is a recurring theme across countless cultures and religions. It's a source of comfort, meaning, and hope in the face of mortality. Cartesian dualism, with its clear distinction between mind and body, provides a philosophical framework for understanding these beliefs. It suggests that the soul, often associated with the mind, can exist independently of the body, potentially surviving death and even inhabiting other realms. This separation also resonates with spiritual practices like meditation and mindfulness, which emphasize the importance of cultivating inner peace and self-awareness. By focusing on the mind as distinct from the body, these practices encourage us to explore our inner landscapes, to connect with something beyond the material world. In a way, Cartesian dualism acts as a bridge between the realms of science and spirituality. While science tends to focus on the observable, the measurable, the material, spirituality often delves into the subjective, the intangible, the transcendent. Cartesian dualism, with its recognition of both a physical and a non-physical realm, acknowledges the validity of both perspectives, offering a framework for understanding their potential interplay. So, whether you're a devout believer, a staunch atheist, or somewhere in between, Cartesian dualism offers a thought-provoking framework for understanding the enduring human fascination with the soul, the afterlife, and the relationship between the physical and the spiritual. It's a reminder that our quest for meaning and understanding often transcends the boundaries of any single discipline, requiring us to embrace the complexities and mysteries that lie at the heart of the human experience. Chapter 4: Controversy and Criticism. The Dualist Dilemma. Now let's not shy away from the elephant in the room, or should I say the ghost in the machine. Cartesian dualism, for all its allure, hasn't escaped its fair share of criticism, and rightfully so. The most common attack? Its failure to provide a clear, convincing explanation for how the mind and body actually interact. Remember Descartes' suggestion that the pineal gland might be the point of contact? Well, that idea didn't quite hold up under scientific scrutiny. Turns out, the pineal gland, while involved in regulating sleep cycles and hormone production, doesn't seem to be the magical bridge between the mind and body that Descartes envisioned. And that's the crux of the problem. If the mind is non-physical, how does it receive information from the physical senses? How does it make decisions that translate into physical actions? How does a thought, an immaterial entity, cause your arm to move, your fingers to type, your voice to speak? Critics argue that Cartesian dualism creates a gaping explanatory gap, a chasm between the mental and physical realms that it simply can't bridge. They point to the ever-growing body of evidence from neuroscience demonstrating the tight correlation between brain activity and mental states. Every thought, every emotion, every sensation seems to have a corresponding neural correlate, a specific pattern of brain activity associated with it. This suggests that the mind, rather than being a separate entity, might be more accurately understood as an emergent property of the brain, a product of its complex electrochemical dance. Furthermore, the idea of a non-physical mind interacting with the physical world raises thorny questions about the conservation of energy, a fundamental principle of physics. If the mind can influence the body, where does the energy for that influence come from? And how does it exert a force on the material world without violating the laws of physics? These are not easy questions to answer, and many philosophers and scientists, unable to reconcile these inconsistencies, have abandoned Cartesian dualism in favor of monistic views, which propose that there's only one fundamental kind of stuff in the universe. So, while Cartesian dualism might not hold all the answers, it has served as a valuable stepping stone in our ongoing quest to understand the mind-body relationship. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating philosophical concepts. Let us know in the comments what you think about Cartesian dualism. Do you believe the mind and body are separate, or do you lean towards a more materialistic view? The mind-body problem is a puzzle that has captivated thinkers for centuries, and it's a debate that's sure to continue as we learn more about the brain and the nature of consciousness.